once again from the studios of UNO Television on the campus of the University of Nebraska at Omaha. Consider this, a program of issues and information behind today's news.
Hi everyone, I'm Kathy Wyatt. Welcome to this week's edition of Consider This. Our topic, the road to India. Joining us to talk more about it are UNO's Chris Allen. Professor Allen is in the School of Communication as well as a Fulbright scholar. Rahim Yazir, the Assistant Director for Afghan Studies, and Gary Repair, an executive producer right here at UNO Television. Thank you all very much for being here and welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chris, we're going to start with you. When people ask you about the University of Nebraska Omaha, what do you tell them?
I tell them that we're a very well-kept secret, although it's not all that much of a secret anymore. I tell them that it's a place where students can come have contact with their professors, a lot of contact with the professors who are truly interested in their education. I tell them that it's a university that has grown up so much over the last 20 years, has become an outstanding regional university, and has become one of the best metropolitan universities in the country. And they often wonder what that means. And what it really means is that we focus on issues university-wide that relate to Omaha and urban settings. And you know, we're in a city with 5 Fortune 500 companies, and it's a community that has some great successes and it has some problems. And in that setting, it doesn't matter if you're majoring in English or biology or journalism or criminal justice or any of the other 100 or so majors across the campus. It is a place where you can get an outstanding education, and you get it directly from your professors.
Thank you. And Rahim, what about India? What do you tell people about that?
India is a large country in the South Asia, and it's called a subcontinent of India, and is very old. It has a very old history, very old civilization, goes back to thousands of years ago. And it is, as you see, it is located in the neighboring of Pakistan and Afghanistan, and it's a diverse country. It has a diverse languages, all kind of languages, and all kind of ethnic groups are living there, with different kinds of beliefs, and mostly Hindus and Buddhists and some Muslims. And it has a very rich culture of literature, music, and art. So it is a center of cultural activities in that part of the world. It is the largest, they produce the largest movies, or the greatest number of movies in that part of the world, which is popular in all the neighboring countries. And it has developed recently economically to be a very progressed, advanced country in that region. And its education and health programs and engineering, architecture, everything is very great. And the different empires had influence over there, and the Aryan culture and the Indian original culture, and recently the influence of the Western civilization has influenced the country. So it is a very advanced cultural, economic, and educational health
Wow.
country. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
And Gary, you put the two together, and what do we have?
Well, we had an ideal location for the joint seminar, workshop, conference, if you will, between a team from UNO and a group of faculty from the University of Kabul in Afghanistan. Wonderful setting geographically for the people from Afghanistan. It was a 90-minute flight for them to come in over Pakistan and into Delhi. For us, we traveled up to Minneapolis and then over to Paris and then to New Delhi. So that took, all of 20-some hours of traveling, not including layovers to get there. For the people from Kabul, it was 90 minutes, but we got there, and 11 and a half hours time difference between here and there we were.
And Chris, when Gary says we, tell us a little bit about the team that ventured over.
We had a really outstanding team from the university. My colleagues were really outstanding. Gary and I are on the extreme left. Behind Gary is Mark Dale, who is actually a manager here at UNO Television. In front of him in the red is Hugh Riley, who is chair or director of the School of Communication, and next to Hugh is Dr. Sherry Wilson, who is a professor in the School of Communication. And so I think we put together probably the best team that I could have hoped for going over.
Wow, okay. So there's obviously a mission in all
Yes.
of this. You went to accomplish something. We have a series of photographs, and so what I'd like to do is put up those photographs for our viewers, and if you gentlemen would just kind of walk us through what we're seeing in terms of the actual mission itself.
Well, the mission was to sit down over a 2-week period with the faculty from the University of Kabul who asked us specifically to talk about pedagogical issues. They know the topics of journalism and mass communication, and they know the issues especially in their own country, which I, of course, am not an expert on. But what they wanted help was in teaching methodologies, learning styles, how to approach students, something as something that we take for granted, how to write a syllabus, and things like that. And so we made a series of presentations on how to do things like that, and they covered just a wide variety of topics.
Yeah, the reason that India was chosen for this seminar, about 20 Afghan professors from Faculty of Journalism, senior ones and young fellows, they all came there and participated in the program, where they heard a lot about the new development in the areas of journalism, new concepts, new methods of teaching journalism. And this was a environment which was very peaceful in contrast with the environment in Afghanistan, where the security is often a problem. And also they were released from their responsibilities of teaching, so they had enough time to concentrate on learning the new methods and things of journalism. And it was also a good environment for the professors to share ideas with each other and hear from the American professors and also from each other. And also the American professors had to learn a lot about their ideas and things like that. And the third country, which was India, the environment, and there were some staff members and students of the university that hosted us, participating in some of the discussions, and also we took some tours of historical sites and famous places, monuments in Delhi, which are world-known places like Taj Mahal, Red Fort, and some other areas, some temples. So it was a very, very educational for all parties for American professors as well as for Afghan professors, and also Indian hosts who were participating in some of the activities with us.
Wow. Gary, how do you even begin to prepare for a trip? I mean, just talking about it on this side of the fence for a minute, prior to you even getting to where you're going, what are you doing in terms of preparation here in Omaha?
Well, we started off by getting a list of what they wanted us to work with them on, topics and subject matter. And once we had that, we started working on lesson plans, examples, how we could work with them. And Yasir was very helpful in converting some PowerPoints to the language they would understand, because a lot of them were not fluent enough in English. So we factored that in. And you just about have to more than double the time a presentation would take here because of the translation factor. So everything we would say, a translator would convert, and then anything that Afghan faculty would respond back to, that converted back to English. And it was very interesting. We'd take things a little chunk at a time, but knowing all of that, you kind of played things as they happened. And we went down some bunny trails occasionally. We got into some great discussions that we didn't expect, things that they found very interesting and important and they were curious about. We were able to stop and spend more time communicating on it. As Chris said, something like creating a syllabus. That was quite a discussion we got into, and it was very interesting, the things they were worried about and concerned about and had questions about. Interacting among themselves, we found out there's not a lot of mentoring of the more seasoned faculty with the newer faculty. They just don't do that. Well, we had exercises where they did do that to create some presentations, and I thought they appreciated that and responded very well to that.
You know, Chris, every situation like this, or most everyone, has some type of icebreaker, for lack of a better term. I mean, you guys fly over there and you're meeting with these people. You don't know them. There's the language barrier. There are other cultural barriers and so forth. How do you break the ice at the start of something like
Well,
this?
we were lucky because we did know some of them, because some of them have actually visited UNO for a month and a half at a time. So we actually did know some of them, and in those cases it was just a homecoming. It was like greeting old friends, and they were so happy to see them, and we were ecstatic to see them again. And then we got to meet more of the others through that way. So it was really very important. And I left one person out when we showed the picture of the people who went. Yasir was not in the photo, and Yasir was an integral part, because although he didn't make any presentations, he was our fixer. And anytime you go to someplace else, you need somebody to fix things, to make sure that the arrangements are right. And that was his role, as well as providing some translation. He's a spectacular translator. And the last person that I should mention, as long as we're talking about translating, is one of the Kabul faculty members. Jawad is his name. He stepped in when the translators that we had hired proved not to be up to the task because of some really specific language that we were using. And Jawad stepped in and did a spectacular job of translating for us. So it really, all of these things came together in this 2-week period that it really coalesced, and we made some ties, not just acquaintances, but some real ties that I hope will be enduring.
Yeah, I mean, from the communication standpoint alone, one of the things that we're taught very early on is that checking for understanding, making sure that people are receiving your message in English to English. That's challenging enough sometimes, right? So to go and have a completely different setup, I can understand why it would have been so important to make sure that translator was right on.
Right. The good thing is that there are many common cultural and historical elements between Afghanistan and India, and so our Afghan professors felt at home as far as the customs and habits, and so they were very felt very free. And also there were some examples of TV stations and film studios and newspaper things and broadcasting centers that the Afghans had access to, and these professors from here helped them explaining some of those things, and they saw the examples of what the modern journalism is. And there is a lot of similarity between the journalism in Afghanistan and journalism in India too, but they are a little bit advanced in content and methodology, and it was of course substantiated by the contribution of our professors from here.
Wow. So Chris, in a nutshell then, recap before we transition into more of the sightseeing piece of it, just the three biggest benefits in doing what you did in that 2-week time frame with those colleagues.
Probably the largest benefit is sharing resources. Afghanistan is not a wealthy country, and we have some resources that they don't have, and we can share those with the Afghan faculty members. We can share our experience in the classroom, and not that they don't have the experience, but it's a different experience, and so we can share that. We built some wonderful ties, and I think the third is that we learned so much about their education, their challenges, and their culture, and it's things that we can bring back to our students. I have already. I bring those things back into the classroom and use them as examples as well.
Yeah, and Gary, not only at the table, right, but out in the community, you were able to really spend some time, going around and kind of seeing how the real world there works. And so we do have a series of photographs here as well, so we'd like to put those up for our viewers. And you gentlemen just walk us through what it is that we're seeing here.
Well, this is a street sign not very far from where we are at. You notice Mahatma Gandhi Marg is like way or avenue. That's a very common word I saw there. A couple of things. It's in Hindi and English, as are most signs. The British influence is quite prevalent and quite obvious throughout Delhi and New Delhi. And also the influence and the standing that Gandhi has with those people. Very, very well thought of course, very revered. And a street scene very much, very close to the same place that Chris's video was shot, nighttime. This is daytime. You can see little tuk-tuk, little three-wheeled motorcycle taxis, green city buses, usually packed to the gills with people that went by, along with cars and bicycles and bike trolleys and taxis. Very busy place. This was a market that we went to, a huge market area. We traveled quite a distance in the subway to get to this place, but it was very interesting. This was in December, and you can maybe see a lot of the power lines and lights and things run between. If you figure the old market that would extend on for 5 or 6 blocks in every direction, that may be something what it was like. There were little stalls and vendors and shops and anything you could think of that was available there. Wildlife was, even in the middle of a huge city, was kind of unusual. This older gentleman had a monkey on a leash, but monkeys were loose around some of the places that we were at, and peacocks as well. And it was kind of interesting. In the middle of a city of approximately 18 million people, you had monkeys and peacocks running loose like a zoo setting, and people seemed to leave them alone. They were fine, and they weren't intimidated by humans at all. So it was kind of interesting.
They make some money on making these monkeys dance and sing and go around and do some acrobatic gestures.
This is a memorial to Mahatma Gandhi. Very elegant, very understated. We went there, and that's a fascinating place. Again, the reverence that he commands and really deserves, and is shown through this facility was very interesting. And the Taj Mahal, I guess the stereotypical spot when you think of India, that's one of the things that you think of. But we spent basically a day to travel down there to tour where that is at, and then get back to Delhi. Traveling back was an incredible trip through thick fog, like pea soup, that we shouldn't have been able to travel through. But the structure itself is just incredible. You can see there's a white wall, and then a line of dark, and then more of the Taj Mahal above that. Well, that dark line, that's all people waiting to go in the door that's kind of in the center there, that cutout. And it's amazing how many people they run through that in a day. But it is structurally one of the unique places in the world, one of the original 7 wonders of the world, they call it, and I can see why.
Either of you gentlemen want to comment on that photo? Because I just think it's magnificent. I can't even imagine.
The thing is, this is several hundred years old, but still it is, the visitors come from all over the world and from India. And you saw the crowd over there. It's always like this, summer, winter, spring, all the time. And it's open all day till sometimes past midnight, and it starts early 6 in the morning. And the visitors keep coming, young, old, children, all kind of people. And this is a symbolic of love that the emperor built it for his wife. And so it is very common, every stories for the children in the books and everything. It's an outstanding love story and a dedication that the husband had for the wife, and this is what is symbolic of.
And of course, it's a mausoleum. They are buried in the
Yes.
center of it. So it's perhaps the world's largest mausoleum, and that's why you will never see photographs of the inside. They forbid photographs from the inside once you and it's a quick tour around, and then you're out because there's so many people that get in there. It's spectacular. It's magnificent.
They put plastics on your shoes when you walk in because they wanted the place to be very clean, and also they respect the holiness or some kind of sacredness of the place.
Unbelievable. Now I know in addition to photographs, you also took some video, Chris, and we have about a minute that we want to show our viewers, and if you can just let us know what we're seeing as we put that up, that would be fantastic.
Well, Gary showed you some of the traffic during the daytime. This was about 9 o'clock at night, and it's at one of the major intersections near the place we were staying, and each direction gets its own light. So this is our direction that has its light, and remember, this is a typical street scene, but it's at night, and you can see everything: motorcycles, the tuk-tuks, the pedal cabs, cars, buses, and even freight trucks come through here, and it's loud. It's tumultuous. It is polluted. I have to say, it's hard to breathe in Delhi, and that's what it looks like. It took forever to clear that intersection, and even before the light changed, not all of the cars had got through, and the light was up. Now this is rush hour. This is when we were going to the market on the subway. And we had to change trains at the main subway changing station, and this is the crowd. You are literally shoulder to shoulder, front to back with people. We're moving one way. There's another mob moving the other way towards the train that we had come from. And the amazing thing about this is that as crowded as it is, as packed as these people are together, there's no pushing, there's no shoving, there are no elbows, there are no harsh words. It's just a way of life in Delhi, and this is how you get about. If you're going to use the subway during rush hour, this is what it is. And we're going down the stairs now. We had to go over a set of tracks, and so we were going down the stairs there, and that's what it's like. It is a packed city, jam-packed. I use a CPAP machine at night, and I can go for a month without changing the filter in my CPAP machine, and not a problem. I was there for 2 weeks, and when I took the filter out, it was black, absolutely black with pollution. It is a very difficult city to breathe and exist in.
Rahim, what is the average age for folks there when they age? How does that work then if we have that kind of pollution? Are we talking increased health, shorter lifespans?
The cities like Delhi is kind of like any major cities because of the pollution and lack of sanitary places. the average of life probably goes about 45, 40, something like that.
Maybe 50.
50,
Wow.
maybe 50.
Unbelievable.
But out in the country, it's a beautiful,
Yeah,
wide
yeah.
open, fresh air, beautiful blue skies.
And fresh vegetables, fresh fruit, everything is seasonal. So no refrigeration and things like that. But it's a good. People are adjusted to it.
Okay. And Gary, how was this trip funded?
It was from a grant from the Department of State, the U.S. State Department. I think due in large part to the long relationship that the international studies, Tom Gutierre, Yassir, people like that have had with Afghanistan and the strong connections we have there.
Okay, and we do have one final clip that we want to show folks. Professor Fanous talking about the importance of a trip such as this, an exchange such as this. So let's go to that.
Maybe all human, I think, in my mind, that all humans, ignoring the cultural difference and something like this, needs to each other, to know, to use the experience of each other. It's very, very useful for each human. I think it's very good, and I hope continue this program.
Okay, so Chris, in about the minute we have remaining, what's the likelihood we're going to continue, right?
Well, unfortunately, the grant has ended. Our grant ends at the end of July, and it was not renewed as we were hoping it would be. If we can find ways to continue it, I fervently hope that we can. I was lucky enough to go over there a year ago to teach in the classroom, and I would give anything to go and do that again.
Okay, and Gary, in the meantime, what? Right, till you go back, now what?
Well, I think all of us carry the bonds that we got from over there, working with people and friendships, and as Fanous said, the interaction with people from other cultures is invaluable, and you just can't get that any other way.
And UNO is a historical tie with Kabul University, especially in the area of education. And right now, through the internet, through the Skype and everything, there is enough communication between the faculty over there and the faculty over here.
Well, let's just hope for the best,
There's
right? In the
always
meantime,
email.
thank you all very much for being
You're
here.
welcome.
We appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all for watching. We'll see you next week.
Consider This is an issues and information program produced by UNO Television. More information can be found at unotv.unomaha.edu. If you'd like to share your comments about this show, call UNO TV at 402-554-2516 during regular business hours, or email us at considerthis@tvmail.unomaha.edu.